money, then you're in the right place. I want you to keep watching. And if you know somebody who needs this information, make sure you share it with them, tag them in the video, share this post for people who need this information. Because tonight I'm going to be talking about social media. I'm going to be talking about how to use social media to help you with fundraising. All right. Are y'all interested in that topic? Is that something you want to know about? Let me know in the chat. So before we get all set up and everything, here's the drill. I know I have not gone live for probably 2 weeks because I was just doing my 1K launch challenge, but I want y'all to introduce yourselves in the chat. I want you to say hello, tell us where you're from, tell us what you do, tell us the mission of your nonprofit. And even if you're thinking about starting a nonprofit, go ahead and share that information in the chat because you never know who's watching, you never know who is listening. So make sure you do that. All right, y'all? So tonight, this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about social media and how to use it to support your fundraising. I want to just give a shout out really quickly to the people who participated. That's how I felt, y'all. I didn't mean to touch my sound effect, but I guess my tablet felt the enjoyment and the excitement that I feel. But I just want to give a shout out to those who participated in my 1K launch challenge. It was a free challenge over 2 weeks, teaching people how to do a fundraising campaign. So there are people who really stuck in there, did the work. I'm so excited for y'all. I'm going to be sharing information, sharing their pages, because they're going to be fundraising in the month of October. And I want y'all to see their success. I want you to see all their information so you can learn from it too. All right. So this live tonight is talking about how to accompany a fundraising campaign like that. All right. So I want to make sure y'all are here because I don't see a whole lot of comments coming through. Put social media in the chat, right? Social media in the chat because that's what we're talking about today. And hey, Shauna. And today, when I mean social media, it could be any kind of platform that works for you and the audience you're trying to reach. For most people, that's Facebook. For most people, it may be Instagram, it may be LinkedIn, it may be Twitter, it may be TikTok. It is whatever makes sense for the audience that you are trying to reach. Okay. Hey, Renee, good to see you. Renee was one of our participants in the 1K challenge. So I'm going to be talking about how to use that to work alongside a fundraising campaign that you're going to do. Because this is the misconception that people have about nonprofits and fundraising. They think that they put something on social media and then a lot of people will see it and that's how you get donations. They think that you just put one link on your website or put one link on your social media pages and then you raise money that way. And the money just magically appears out of nowhere and it showers your organization. Unfortunately, that's not how it happens. And for a lot of you guys who see these seasoned nonprofits make money and they're posting on social media, there's a whole team behind that. There's people, there's money behind that. And so I don't want you to be misinformed thinking that all I need is social media and I can just raise money that way. I can just do a fundraiser real quick on Facebook and it'll work. We learned in the 1K challenge that direct communication is the most effective. And we went through a strategy to do that. But there's a but. Somebody say, but there's still a role for social media and it can still help you as you launch your campaign. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So this is what I want to share. I want to share 3 things, 3 social media mistakes that new nonprofits make during fundraising. And I'm going to tell you how to fix them. So if y'all are with me, put number 1 in the chat. Just let me know you're with me. Royals Admin Touch said that did not work. You are so right. Hey, Sherry. It didn't work. But we came up with a plan in the 1K challenge. Hey, Cheryl. APP in the house. All right, this is the first thing. when you're using social media, you want to leverage it to work for you. Sometimes it feels like we work for social media, right? Sometimes it feels like we're putting all this work in and we're more so supporting the app than the app is supporting us, right? I'm thinking about a particular app in mind, but it just feels like it's so much work just to be able to be seen. It's so much work just to figure out how to freaking do it and put a post. It feels like we're working for social media and it's not working for us. But I want you to turn that around and think about how you can use social media to your advantage because it's free. And never in the history of histories have we had an opportunity like we have now where you can literally be discovered by someone across the world and you can meet someone from across the world just like that. And it is social media that is driving that and fueling that. So I want you to make social media work for you. But what you have to do is you have to play the game, which is feed the algorithm. I'm not going to ask you to put feed the algorithm because I don't even know how to spell algorithm on the fly. So I couldn't even tell you how to type it. But I just want you to promise me that if you're sitting here watching, say, feed the algorithm, feed the algorithm. You know, like that movie, Little Shop of Horrors, feed me, Seymour. Think of the algorithm like the big plant that it needs you to feed it in order to grow for you, right? So, what I need you to do, the first thing is the reason why you're probably not as successful as you want to be is because you're not posting enough. And this is the thing. Oh, okay. I am the green team showing off. She spelled it. You showing off. So you're not posting enough. And I realized that my source of stress for social media was that I felt like I had to post a lot. Like I had to always show up. But the reality is that you have to regularly post. Whatever that cadence is for you, you have to keep it up. Because the minute that you decide to fall back, it's going to fall back on you. Now, I'm not saying that you have to post 5 times a day. I'm not saying that. But there are certain platforms that thrive off you posting on a regular basis and posting a lot. So if you know you're going to set up shop on Facebook and you need to be seen on Facebook, then you have to accept the fact that you may have to post a lot, right? You got to come up with some kind of compromise to post a lot. If you're doing LinkedIn, you do not have to post as much on Facebook, but you have to post. You have to post. I think that's the biggest mistake. Like people do sprints where they're doing good for 1 week, and then something happens, they forget about it, and then they don't post again for 2 months. That is not going to get you what you need. First of all, it's not going to inspire trust in people who are looking to give you money if they don't see you regularly posting information. And then it's just not going to um, satisfy the algorithm. So, one of your biggest mistakes is you're not regularly posting. You have to decide for yourself how much am I going to post and what can I do realistically to keep it up? That's the first thing. That makes sense, y'all? So, what I need you to think about is what kind of things you want to post. And you don't have to feel the pressure, y'all, of like, you don't have to feel the pressure of having these long, complicated posts or these long captions. You can literally post short things, short reflections, and it still help feed the algorithm. So this is what I want y'all to think about. I want you to think about who you work with. And I want you to envision that person that you work with or you serve. We do this a lot in my challenges, but I want you to think about the person who's the ideal client or the ideal participant. What do people need to know about them? How can you humanize them? What is something surprising that people wouldn't know? What is a fun fact you can share about them? What is something that's happening with people that you serve that you feel like needs to be shared? See, a lot of times people think you got to go all out and these fancy pictures and stuff like that. You don't, especially on like a LinkedIn or a Facebook. You don't have to have a picture. But this is what I also encourage you to do. Get a journal and write down your reflections. I need you to be in the mind frame of thinking about how does everything impact the people that you serve, right? So you go to the grocery store and you notice something interesting, write it down. You experience something, somebody tells you something you didn't know about. You had a conversation with somebody, write it down. And I want you to reflect. I need you to get into the rhythm of reflection. I like that. That's a little alliteration. Is that alliteration? Rhythm of reflection. It don't sound like it, but it's the R's. Alliteration is not the word, it's another word. Somebody help me out. But I need you to get into the rhythm of reflection. And I need you to write down the things that happen to you, the things that you experience. And then I want you to do is talk about how that relates to the people you work with, how that relates to the work you do for your nonprofit. I need you to get into the spirit of reflection because that's when you have an endless source of things to talk about and to reflect on for your nonprofit. So I want you to think about, okay, for me, I talk about nonprofits all the time. I talk about startup and raising money, right? I went to CVS and had an encounter in CVS. And I used that encounter in CVS as an email that I sent out to folks. I send my emails out every Saturday, and I use that reflection to talk about what's going on and what's going wrong in the nonprofit space and what you can do about it. So that's the first thing I want you to do. You got to get a rather regular rhythm of posting, but I want you, in order to have a source for your posting, constantly reflect. Write down your notes, write down your experiences. Think about the experiences that you have with the people that you serve. Every time you do something for your nonprofit, snap a picture, even if it's a selfie. You're going to the post office because you're mailing off a form to the IRS or you mailing the form to the state, snap a picture, right? Every time you have a board meeting, snap a picture, take a screenshot. Get into the rhythm of reflecting so that it doesn't feel hard, it doesn't feel cumbersome to report or have information about what you're doing. Because what you're doing on your social media is you're building trust. Can somebody say building trust? Thank you. I am the green team. I was right. It was alliteration. Okay, cool. You're building trust, and people trust you when they see that you're actually a human, when they see that you're talking normally, right? Because when you talk stuffy, and our organization was you're using so much formal language, people see formality, they see an organization, they see a business, they don't see the people. And the quickest way to get to people, if you want them to give, is to build trust. You have to build trust with them, and that's what social media should be used for. So if you feel like you're at a point where you don't know what to talk about, and you don't know like what to share, you feel like all you're doing on your social media is sharing updates and giving announcements, then I want you to think about what are the things you can say, what are things you can reflect on to build trust and build confidence and to appear human. Because the way that a new and a small organization is going to make it, the way you're going to scale and get bigger is if you appear to be human. You show the authenticity of your work. That's how you build trust. And you are perfectly positioned as a smaller and new organization to do that. That is your superpower. Your authenticity, your closeness to the work, your ability to tell real, genuine stories because you're in the middle of it. Many of you have experienced it yourself, or you're right in the midst of it, experiencing it with other people. Think about this. You're a helper. And I'm gonna get off this point because I've been on it too long. But you're a helper. People call you all the time because they need something. Well, reflect on that. I've noticed that a lot of people have called because they need this, or a lot of people are experiencing this. Reflect on that, right? That leads me to my second point. Somebody say number 2 in the chat. Let me know you're with me. Let me know that you're with me. Number 2. Number 2 mistake that a lot of small organizations do or make is that they don't engage. They see social media as a bulletin board, and that is the biggest mistake you can make. Social media was not built to be an announcement board. it was built, and I'm just talking about it generally because every platform has a different way of doing it. But generally, it was built to reinforce connection. It was built for people to connect and for people to engage. You hear that word, engage? It's used a lot in the analytics and things like that. It's to get people to take action, is to get people to move, is to get people to do something. So if I, as an end user, if I'm the person following your nonprofit, and all I see is that you're posting, hey, we're doing this today. Hey, we're doing this today. That does not, yes, that informs me, but that does not inspire me to do anything. It doesn't give me any inclination that I need to like your post. It doesn't give me any inclination that I need to click a link. It doesn't. When you're just giving me an announcement and that's it. Hey, we're launching this today. Just FYI, we're launching this. We're doing this thing. That does not make people move. Your goal when you are posting, there has to be an objective behind every single post that you put. Because why waste your time? Because I know for a fact that most of y'all don't like social media. You don't want feel like posting. So when you do post, you want it to be effective. You want it to do something. So don't put things out there that don't get people to move and don't get people to respond. Because I need you to respond. And it took me a long time to learn this. It took me a long time to get it. And I'm still practicing. I'm still working on it. But the goal for you is to get somebody to act. So the question is, well, how do I do that? Ask questions. That's it. You thought I was going to say something deep, right? You thought I was going to say something deep. This isn't really deep. This is really simple stuff. That's what I need you to understand. Don't overcomplicate it. It's just ask questions. And you, in the practice of posting, practice what questions get people to respond the most. Practice the things that you feel like people pay the most attention to. Study it. Study what you're doing and then refine, refine, refine. If you listen to any internet marketing guru, they're going to tell you, look at your analytics and see what people respond to. What they're essentially saying is, look at what works and do more of what works. But you can't do that unless you practice, you put the information out there and you study it. So you got to ask questions. It's also called, putting a call to action in place. What is your call to action? What are you asking people to do? The reason why this matters is because if you talk about feed the algorithm and you're hearing the algorithm say, feed me, then when it sees that people respond to you, when it sees that people tend to always write on your post, that people seem to always like your post, it's tracking that. It's paying attention to that, right? So this is what it's saying to itself. Okay, if I promote this account, then it will inspire people to keep coming back because they're really good at getting people to stay engaged. So they must be doing something to keep people on the platform because their goal is to keep people with their phones open because they make money when their app is being used. The potential to make money for them increases the longer people stay on their app and the more people who are on their apps. This is any platform. We can go line by line and talk about every single platform. You know what the goal is? The goal is for them to keep you on there. How you do that, the strategies you use differ by platform, but what matters most is that you get somebody to respond. So how are you going to get somebody to respond, y'all? Give me some ideas in the chat. This is what I do. Comment below if this is your experience. Drop this emoji if you feel this way or if you agree. If you're excited about what's coming next, let us know in the chat. Comment this word below if you want us to send you this. These are direct actions that require somebody to respond. And when you put those things in there, it also helps because you realize who's actually reading your post. If nobody is commenting when you say, hey, do this, that's an indicator to you that you got to tweak something. So I need you to get, after every post, ask a question. Social media is not an announcement board. It's not a bulletin board. It's not. It's not somewhere where you can just dump all the things that you're doing. Okay, we're doing this event this month, this event this month. That's great for your followers. That's great for them to know what's going on. But your job is to get them motivated. Okay, you got a follower who's going to show up for your volunteer event. Who else can they bring with them? Who else can they invite? Can they share on their personal page so that people on their timeline know that they're going to this event and are inspired to go with them? Ask questions. Can y'all promise me that you're going to do that? Because the goal is to engage. All right, last one. I'm going to be quick, y'all, because let me tell you something. Whew, this challenge wore me out. Oh, the last 2 weeks, it wore me out. I've been taking naps every day, and I hate naps. So you know, it did a doozy on me. So I'm not going to be on here tonight very long. I see a question. Do you recommend a business and a personal page? So if you're a nonprofit, you should have a business page. You should have a business page for any platform that you want to use for your nonprofit. But you should also, I think it helps to have a personal page. I think both matter. But remember, your nonprofit is not your personal page. Your nonprofit is not your personal business. So it needs to be separate. It needs to have its own identity. It needs to have its own brand so that people can go directly to that. Now, you can share stuff from the posts, from the pages and all that kind of stuff, but it's good to have separate and to have both. All right, number 3. Put number 3 in the chat if y'all ready for the last one, the last mistake that people are making. And this is one that it took me a very long time to get, and I'm still trying to perfect, but I'm getting better at it. Just being honest, just being transparent. The last one is not following up directly with people. So if we think about the point of posting is that we want people to take action, we want people to engage, we want people to signal to us that they're paying attention or that they care about what we're talking about or they're interested in what we're saying. If we're asking them to signal that by liking a post or sharing the post, then if they do that, that's an indicator to you that they're interested in you. That's an indicator to you that they care about what you're talking about. And those people may be well positioned to give money or support you if you foster a relationship with them. And one thing that, because I was always so focused on posting, I was so focused on posting and getting it out, and I didn't care what happened after it, right? And this takes time. This is hard. But I was so focused on posting, I didn't think about what happened after. Even when I asked people to engage, I didn't follow up with the people. I didn't pay attention to who was liking my posts. I didn't pay attention to like who was consistently commenting. I didn't always follow up with them in the DMs and nothing like that. I just kept posting because for me, I felt like I was told just post. Like that's the instruction. That's the advice. Just post regularly. And that's it. And that's all people tell you. Anybody else feel like that? Because this was my personal experience. But I have learned and what I teach when people are trying to raise money is what? Direct communication is the most effective way to make money. So if you've ever dropped a fundraiser and just put a link and say, hey, I'm raising money for this goal, and then you wonder to yourself why nobody responded or why nobody donated, part of the problem is that you're not following up with people and you're not asking them or encouraging them or challenging them to support. Because if you want people to give their money, you got to ask. It's very few people who will see something randomly and just give their money. Now, there's certain elements that make that possible, right? If your story becomes viral, if it resonates really well, if it's in the media, it gets like a lot of broad visibility, then yes, people may very much see your post and like it. But there is something behind that. But if there's not an engine like that pushing it where people know about what you're doing and you expect to just drop a link and think people are going to give, they're not. You got to ask people. Can you say that? I have to ask. And this is the thing, because people are so scared to ask for money because it brings up so many icky feelings. Everybody I talk to about asking for money, the majority of people are like, I don't want to ask. I don't want to ask these people for money. I don't want to be seen this way because I'm asking for money. I don't want to feel like I'm begging. I know that was going to come up. Everybody says that. We talked about that in my challenge. We debunked those feelings, because those feelings are more about you than the other person. And you got to understand that. Just be real with yourself. That's more about you than actually the other person. But because we have so many feelings about asking for money, we can't even possibly think that, following up on a post that somebody comments and says, can I count on you to donate $25? Following up with the DM when you see that somebody likes a post, or you see that somebody comments, and following up with them in a message and saying, hey, can I count on you? It's like, it's tough. Like, people, because they're afraid to ask for money, the idea of doing that, even with the message, scares the crap out of them. But I need you to know that if you want people to give, you have to ask. And if you want to get people to give off a social media message, you have to follow up with them directly. If you want to be effective with your social media posts, you got to follow up with them directly. And so every platform is different in how you communicate with folks. So you got to master the platform that works for you, right? So Facebook is the most popular one. Then master what it's like to follow up with people, to DM people, to comment and react to posts. Because sometimes, because of how the rules change, you can't always DM people, you can't always message people, but you can start a conversation in the comments. So ask yourself, what can I do to motivate people to comment so that I can start following up with them and engaging with them directly? Right? That's what I need you to start thinking about. And so the bottom line for all of this is, when it comes to your social media, it can help fuel the campaign that you're running overall. Your fundraising campaign does not live and die on social media. Social media is a complement to what you're doing with the follow-ups and the emails and the phone conversations and the in-person conversations. Social media can help fuel that, right? But you got to shift your mind from, this is about me posting, to this is about me engaging and developing relationships. You develop relationships with people by asking them questions, asking them about what they commented, asking them, would they be interested in this? Or, are you from this area? Have you had this personal experience? I'm curious as to, what interests you in our organization. Being curious, asking questions is the foundation of a relationship, right? Because you don't want to go on a date and just assume as the person, let's say I'm a man, you can't go on a date with a woman and just assume that woman's going to give you what you need in terms of whatever you want out of the date. I don't know, a second date, a relationship, without getting to know her, without showing interest in her, right? Like, if you don't do that first, then your chances of continuing that relationship, or building or deepening that relationship, is slim, because you didn't show interest in that person first. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You are building connection with people, and what I need you to understand is, you got to be direct. So when it's time to ask for money, ask for money. Don't let that be the only source of your, or the only prompt for communication. But when it's time to ask for money, just ask. Don't be scared. I know that's hard to say. Oh. Don't be scared. Okay. Because you're going to hear one or two things. What you going to hear, y'all? Yes or no. You might hear maybe. And each one of those answers gives you a clue of what to do next. That's it. Like, yes or no. What most people feel when they ask for money has everything to do with them and nothing to do with the other person. You're worried about how that person looks at you. You're worried about what that person thinks of you. You're worried about whether or not they'll trust you to do the work. You're worried, worried, worried. What I say in the challenge? I, me. And giving is a selfish act. It's a good selfish, but giving in most circumstances, people do it for themselves. They do it to make themselves feel better. All right. So, y'all leave a comment on what sticks out to you the most tonight. What are you going to walk away with and change and adjust for your nonprofit? Because we're in a time of the year. It's time for action. People want to start giving season is about to kick off in late November, December. It's time to move. I want y'all to be successful. So tell me, what is the one thing that you're going to take away from tonight that you're going to implement for yourself? Let me know. So I'm going to recap really quickly. 3 mistakes: not having a regular cadence of posts, and you need to decide on your regular rhythm and have a rhythm of reflection where you're always thinking about how things impact your community. You're writing down stories, you're capturing your journey, because all of that is content you can use as you regularly post. The second mistake is that people don't engage, people don't ask questions, and you're going to flip that around and you're going to ask questions. You're going to get people to act. You're going to prompt them to do something. And then the last thing is not following up directly with people. You're going to turn that around. And when people and when people actually respond to you, you're going to start conversations with them. And when it's time to ask for money, and if you're actually doing a campaign, you're going to ask them. You're going to directly ask them for money. Right? Thank y'all so much. I'm gonna leave with this comment from Renee because this is good. She said, "It's not for me. I won't take it personal." And that's what I need you to reflect on. This is not money for you. This is money you're doing to help somebody else. And you cannot take it personal. Remove yourself from it. All right. Thank y'all so much for watching. And I will see you. I will be back on here next week. I'm back to my regular schedule, y'all. See you later. Bye.